What's next?
The father of one of the victims of the recent college shooting had a message to deliver on CNN to politicians.
First of all, what do you want the world to know about Chris?
Excuse me, Anderson. Excuse me,
Yeah.
Anderson. I'm sorry to interrupt you already,
Sounds like it.
but I wanted to
Yeah,
thank you
man.
for inviting
I
me
can't
on your
blame him,
show,
man.
and I have a special reason
Yeah.
for saying that to you, and that's because I respect the position that you've taken on the coverage of these events.
Well, as you know, I don't believe in saying the person's name or showing the person's picture who committed these things. I think history should not remember that person's name, but should remember the name of your son and all the others who lost their lives and have had their...
You know, I've heard kind of some people talk about that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, how far do we take that? Do we, like, say, like, well, we don't really need to show Hitler's picture or say his name or anything.
Or talk about what the Nazis did.
We just need to talk about, you know, the victims and just forget about the... Like, isn't there, like, something to be said for examining why the killer did what they did? I mean, isn't it kind of important to understand the motive, even if the motive doesn't make any sense? Like, I think that they're, you know, I mean, like, I understand where he's coming from, but I mean, if you don't...
I have to kind of disagree with you. Just on the... I understand where you're coming from, but for me, it's... I think I would like people to be able to examine this kid's life if they so choose to do it. I just don't think that the platform for that is the national news media with 24-hour round-the-clock salacious coverage of it.
Why do you feel like it gives them kind of like a celebrity status?
No, it's not even that. It encourages other crimes. Like, if you talk to psychologists about stuff like this, when you read about these types of mass murderers, you find that they are heavily influenced by people that have done it before.
Sure.
And the constant attention and the constant focus on not only the body count but the pictures, pictures of the guy that aren't even related to the fucking thing, just plastered all over everything.
Doesn't that kind of harken to, like, isn't that almost akin to like, well, what video games influence the killer? What movies influence the killer? I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like, how can you really say, like, we should censor reality because it might inspire more killers down the line?
Yeah, I guess I don't look at it as censorship. I'm not advocating that anybody impose this rule.
You just think that that's a standard that the media should embrace.
I just think that if I ran, and I filter it through this, if I ran a news organization, I'd like to think that I would not do that. That I would cover it like it should be covered. Cover it extensively locally to the people in the community where this obviously affects them. And then outside, mention it, give the cursory facts about it, and then let people go look into it themselves if they want to.
My opinion is that who the killer was, whether we like it or not, whether it might inspire people down the line or not, that is news. I mean, the fact that someone did this is part of the news cycle, especially in this instance where the motive of the killer has come under such scrutiny. But I think we're going to get to that portion of the show a little later.
Yeah.
Their lives forever changed.
When the media puts the shooter's name out there, they put his picture out there, they put his videos out there, they're giving the shooter exactly what they wanted.
I agree.
They're completing the shooter's plan. The second thing about this is not only is it wrong for that reason, it's wrong for even a more important reason. And that is, out there right now today, this minute, there's another shooter, just like this kid. Absolutely just like this kid, and he's listening to the message that this media at this time is sending to him, and he's seeing that this shooter was rewarded by his horror and accomplishing his purpose. Anyone who knew him, if you go to our hometown of San Luis Obispo and you talk to the kids that played sports with Chris, they will tell you that it was a very unusual combination of gentleness, kindness, and fierce competitiveness.
Now, we all know that this actually was just orchestrated by Obama to ban all guns in America.
Yeah, that actually is a theory floating around.
Of course it was.
As it is with
Sandy Hook.
every single major shooting event is always a plot by the Obama administration to take away the guns.
Oh, what a joke!
I know.
Anyone that says that is an idiot.
They're saying it, though, and I knew they
Oh
would.
yeah. They had that one guy, that Joe the plumber guy, being like, I think he wrote a
Oh,
letter.
my God, don't even mention that fuck.
That fucking guy wrote a letter and was like, just because you got some dead kids doesn't mean you can take away my constitutional rights.
Well, he was the one that claimed that if Hitler wouldn't have taken guns away from the Jews, the Holocaust wouldn't happen. That was one of his campaign ads. Joe the plumber actually ran for Congress in the district that my parents live in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I bet you they were happy about that.
Yeah.
Did your parents vote for him?
Fuck no.
I doubt it. I extremely doubt it.
When he did something, he was determined and fearless.
I know you've had people reach out to you, people from Capitol Hill. What is your message to them? What is your message about what needs to change?
My message is this. I've had Congress people call me and express their condolences and sympathy. And when that's happened, I've told them, don't call me and tell me you're sorry about my son's death. I don't want to hear it from you. I don't want to hear that you're sorry about my son's death. I don't care if you're sorry about my son's death. You go back to Congress and you do something, and you come back to me and tell me you've done something.
I just want to point out that this man is a paid actor.
Yeah. Obama
by the Obama administration
and the gun lobby and the anti-gun movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, Obama screened him personally.
This is actually probably Janine Garofalo's cousin or something.
And the Illuminati Communist Fascist Party of Kenya.
If you photo enhance him, you can see the all-seeing eye tattoo on his neck.
It is green screen too. He's not really outdoors. He's really in his studio.
Yes. And I would also like to say, while we're on the subject, that you, sir, are a middle-aged man.
Yes.
You're a middle-aged man, TJ.
You're a middle-aged man!
I think TJ's a terror, personally.
You're a middle-aged tear!
Then I'd be interested in talking to you. But till then, don't call me again. And I don't care whether it's the
awesome.
President of the United States or any other politician. Do not call me and tell me you're sorry about my son's death until you do something now.
This is probably going to sound
ridiculous.
Like kind
it's
of
contemptible,
right-wingy, what I'm about to say, but I think weren't like 2 or 3 of his victims stabbed?
Those were his roommates.
Yeah, the roommates were stabbed.
Right. So I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, we could talk about gun legislation. I mean, like, I'm not saying that has to be taken off the table or something, but I mean, like, violent people are going to find ways to kill.
Right, but I couldn't disagree more, honestly, because
well,
he couldn't have killed this many people if he would have been running around.
I don't know about that, because they've had knife attacks in China where people have actually had higher body counts than this.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, so
what about the Aurora theater shooting?
Well, I'm not saying. I mean, you can of course kill more people with a gun, but I'm just or you could build a bomb too. I mean, there's no really way to stop that.
There's numerous ways to take human lives. For sure.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, stop it. I mean, like legislating guns is a good start, but I mean, if you can't actually spot what causes these sorts of behaviors, you're not really going to mitigate the violence as much as you think you will.
Excuse the bad pun, but there's not one silver bullet to take away this issue. It's not like if we have gun control, suddenly the problem is going to go away. In America, there's a lot more than that. Like the mental health issue. Like this guy basically convinced the police when they came and talked to him, like, "Oh no, I'm fine." That was just like this is online persona stuff.
Yeah, the police actually left saying he was a great guy.
Well, yeah, he was a superb gentleman or whatever.
Yeah, he just in his manifesto he describes himself as a magnificent
gentleman.
He also describes himself as the closest thing there is to a living God. So,
a totally sane human being.
The fact that this situation has gone on so long is just utterly ridiculous. I mean, I refuse to believe that this situation is hopeless. I refuse to believe that there aren't solutions here. I realize that it's a complex issue. I realize that this is an issue that combines gun violence. I realize it's an issue that combines mental health. I realize that it's an issue that involves hatred of women. I understand that, and that's an important thing. I don't want to lose sight in all this discussion that this whole tragedy was motivated in part by a young man's twisted idea of what women owed him.
You want to reach out to this
so
young man's
this guy actually does take a pretty subtle and nuanced view of the issue.
Yeah, he wasn't just like ban guns.
Obviously, he has a skewed perspective. His son was one of the people that was killed.
Well, I mean, I don't think his perspective is all that skewed. I mean, he's very passionate, but
Yes.
I mean, I think that he actually has a pretty well reasoned out notion of why this happened, and he's not just looking at it through like a lens of like oversimplification.
He's surprisingly calm. Too,
Well, I think you have to understand that this guy comes from a position that's held by what I consider to be a lot of gun legislation advocates. I'm one. I've never said ban all guns. I've never said that I want to round up guns or make it completely illegal for people to buy guns. I'm for sensible legislation. And I don't think that our legislation now is sensible. I don't think it's sensible that we can set up a fucking arsenal under a tent and people can wander in and out. You know, like that to me is not sensible when you're talking about such a deadly
like
thing.
communism to me.
Yeah.
This is this is kind of an aside, but not really. What do you make of these fuckwits who are making a point out of taking guns into places like Chili's and Chipotle, like
the open carry,
like big assault weapons and shit? Like, yeah, we taking our guns into Chipotle to show that we have the right to do it.
Well, they certainly are winning hearts and minds in Texas. I can tell you that. I just saw a story today that they wandered in to a Sonic burger and the manager kicked them out. So they're persona non grata at Sonic now. So they're fighting the good fight, man. I know I'm convinced.
Who the fuck wants to go to Sonic and see guys with their AR-15s and their fucking M16s and their various assault rifles and they're fucking loaded down to the teeth like, we have a right to do this.
Here,
no, I just want to come here and get a fucking hamburger and a shake. I don't want to fucking
I don't know about
see
you
a bunch
guys,
of gun nuts.
but if I walk into a restaurant and I see some dudes holding like fucking AR-15s and M16s and shit, I'm gonna fucking hightail it the fuck out of there. I'm gonna be like, whoa.
I live where I live now. I live in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, and there's a bar in like the old downtown district of this little town that I live in, and literally right next to the bar is a gun shop.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Gun World.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Gun World.
Get drunk, make a plan to kill your wife, and arm yourself here.
Yeah.
Hey, grab a bite to eat.
I just figured, like, what if you get in a fight at the bar? You're like, all right, I'm going to Gun World.
You'll be sorry, bitch.
You'll be starting in about 10 minutes, bitch.
Yeah.
Get my
24-hour waiting period.
Fuck.
No, you just go in there and be like, when they tell you there's a 24-hour waiting period, sir, you'd be like, come on, man. They'd be like, all right, here you go.
The sad thing is I've known people that have done that, and they said, like, I'll buy the gun somewhere else, and the guy running the gun store will be like, okay, fine, just take the gun.
Not to mention that, all you have to do to buy a gun from a private citizen is you just have to have like a piece of paper signed by both people.
Anderson Cooper's totally making a duck face right now, just to point that out. Yeah. Blue steel all the way. All right, we'll finish this one up and then we'll move on to the next one.
No. Let's finish this one up and never move on.
Anderson, I find it unacceptable and intolerable that this situation continue. And for the rest of my life, in the honor of my son, I will do anything I can. I'll go anywhere. I'll talk to anybody to change this.
Yeah, so obviously some real emotions there, unless he's a paid actor by the Obama administration.
All I can see, when I see that guy, becoming emotional there, all I can see is like conservative Americans sitting at home like, quit crying, pussy. Come on.
So what? He dead. Get over it.
Quit your fucking crying. He would
Second Amendment.
If you weren't such a liberal heathen, he'd be with Jesus now.
No, you know what they'll probably say? If your son had been armed, he'd still be alive.
I'm sure he's probably going to get told that.
I think it was a drive-by, though. I don't think he had anything